Hello, guys. Today I've got Carl Draper back on from Boxing Royalty. And yes, how are you?
I'm all right, mate. Thank you for having me back. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, mate. I'm good.
Good.
Right. So, should we talk about Tolworth first?
Yeah, good night, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, Poochie smashed him, didn't he?
It's just, mate, everyone knows what I think of Pooch. Obviously, he's one of my ambassadors. And when he picked me up, I've met him and Richard in Malden. And they said to me that this guy had pulled out of the fight a couple of years back on the day of the weigh-in or something. And I remember we were stood there watching it, and you weren't too far from me. And he was just battering him. And Derek kept holding him down and hitting him. And then
He
all of
kind
a
of put
sudden,
his head down.
yeah, that's it. And Poochie kept looking at him and saying, "Stop it, mate." And then when he did it one more time, everyone's seen it. Poochie just got him on the ropes, and it was just a brutal knockout. If that was on the telly, it'd have been shown for weeks. It was just incredible.
Yeah, he just kept hitting him, didn't he?
Yeah, just left hook dip, right hand dip, left hook, and it was a good stoppage. One of his friends, I think it was Derek Renfrew's friends, come up to me outside, "That's bullshit," and whatever. And I said, "Well, it's not, is it?" I said, "Because if the ropes weren't there, Derek was in trouble."
I reckon if it continued, he could have been on the floor.
Oh, he would, yeah, like I said, if the ropes weren't there, then he would have been on his arse, and it would have been a lot worse than, because when the ref grabbed him, his hands were down, and he didn't know what he was doing. So, but listen,
Derek
that's what,
didn't look happy, did he, with the stoppage?
yeah, I don't think you can argue it. Everyone that was around me all of a sudden were Poochie fans, and it's one of them things that if you don't play the game with a journeyman, they're going to make you look silly, and that's exactly what happened. Derek lost to a journeyman in the previous fight,
Yeah, he
so
did.
I think, listen, it could be a very interesting year for Poochie. He's had two opponents pull out since then. He
Yeah.
boxed on Saturday, and I heard that he smashed the bloke up over 6 rounds.
Oh, mate, he absolutely smashed the guy.
Well, he's one of his Richard's missus. She texted me and said that he's been robbed. And then I watched it back, and then that Balraj is doing an interview saying, "Give me three more fights, and I'll knock him out." Well, Balraj, if you're watching this, why wait three more fights? Let's do it in 3 weeks. You and Poochie, let's run it back, because if you're that confident, you don't need more fights. Fight him now.
Exactly. I,
But
I
that's
reckon Poochie would beat him again.
listen. If Poochie boxed and trained, I he would win an English title by the time he retires. And look, Poochie may get a title. There may be something in the pipeline for him, but it's a very interesting year for Poochie. It's his last year, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Oh, that would be good. He's already got two more fights scheduled at the minute.
Yeah, he's fighting. So a guy that I used to work with, he used to be like an MMA fighter. His name's Balraj Kara. He's fighting him at York Hall. That'll be an interesting fight because, as I say, Poochie isn't going to be the usual Poochie this year. He will turn up and he will play the game. But if certain things fall into place, Poochie's going to have to win certain fights. So he'll still lose his fights and he'll be happy walking out the ring. But I had a conversation with someone the other week, and when journeymen are losing every fight and they're losing every round, they get pulled in by the board. So how is it fair that Lee Hallett on Saturday they give it every round to the other guy?
No, they
But
gave Lee 1 round.
exactly. So they give Lee 1 round. So then if he loses another two fights, they give him Lee's going to get called in and have to go for a medical.
What?
It's not because the board are saying that they're basically, I don't know the ins and outs, but if they're losing every round or only picking up the odd round here and there, the board are saying it's not safe. So I think the board need to look at their referees and say, look, score it properly. Because if they did, half these prospects wouldn't be about no more.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think Lee. There was one of the fights I was at when Lee was fighting. It was in April. He completely smashed the guy.
Yeah, I've seen Lee box 3 times and he's won every single fight and he's not won a round in any of them. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's unfair.
You look at last Saturday with Poochie, and Poochie comes out the ring, and if he wins, he's a bit like if he wins but doesn't get it. But Saturday he was genuinely down. He was upset because he'd won every single round, and they hadn't given it. And it's wrong because you're right. Look, if the journeyman wins 4 out of 6 rounds, you can argue a draw because it's 1 round. But if they batter the guy as Poochie did, it's just it's rotten. And it's all good getting paid there, whatever they get paid, but it's another level. And I noticed that from Tolworth, being in that changing room, speaking to a few of the journeymen, but it definitely needs to be reviewed, the way they look out for these guys.
No, but quite a few of those journeymen deserved to lose because they were getting beat, I thought.
Yeah, you do get a lot of journeymen that are happy to go out there and lose.
Like
But
Matt Hall that you're working.
yeah, Shane McGuigan said he's one of the toughest he's seen. And these guys are happy to go out there and just play the game. But if the journeyman has a go, give them the credit they deserve.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got flu, mate, so I might keep coughing.
Nah, that's all right, mate. What about Chris Ely? Because he had a great go, didn't he?
That was a good fight, that one, although I was covered in drink for half of it, as you remember. But
Yeah.
Chris is another one. He's won the area title. He won the central area title. And that guy on the night, he was good, to be fair to him. He was hitting him and hitting Chris. But I think Chris should now just go out there and fight every week, because Chris will cause problems at heavyweight. 100%. He's not the level. We see him fight Fabio Wardley. I know it was on a week's notice and got stopped. But if Chris goes out every week, gets a bit of personality, you met his trainer. We went in the change room. His trainer's a nice guy. He could cause some problems as a journeyman, because there ain't a lot of heavyweight and cruiserweight journeymans about. There's no chance he makes cruiserweight, but you need a few of these guys.
Yeah, and if you're not on your A game, Chris might bulk one over the top.
100%.
Because he had a good go against that Porter.
Yeah, well, that was a good fight. What was it? 6 rounds, wasn't it?
4.
And obviously, was it 4?
It was 39-37, which was fair.
Yeah, I mean, I had it 3-1. I give Chris the first round, and then I give the other guy the last 3. He did bust Chris up. Let's just have it right. Chris admitted that when we were in the changing room, but he weren't stopped. And that's when that guy, I won't repeat what he said. He said, "Look at this fat," and I said, "But this fat man will take all of you and your friends out."
Exactly.
Because they and but Chris is a nice guy. Obviously, like I say, you met him. Didn't he give you his hand wraps?
Yeah,
as well?
I've still got them, but I've got to get a frame.
Yeah, so they make the journeyman of the biggest legends of this sport, bar none.
Yeah, and Chris came up short against Jay, but I haven't seen the fight. But apparently, Chris did give him a good run for his money.
Yeah, I haven't seen it or spoke to Chris. I was meant to message him, but that's probably 2 similar levels. I like Jay, but is Jay going to be a British or Scottish, whatever he is, champion? No. But listen, you got to wish everyone the best. Chris is now going out there and doing what he knows he needs to do.
Yeah.
And he'll make guys look good. So I look forward to seeing him. I hope to see him down at York Hall and places like that.
Yeah. And maybe, you never know, he might upset one of the prospects, hopefully.
They'll always upset a prospect. Always. 1 in 6 fights when they fight these people. Poochie's fought the likes of Lerone Richards. Who's that Derby fan?
Zach Parker.
He's boxed Zach Parker. So, and one time or another, they're going to upset him. So, just keep it. You've got certain journeymen that will go and do it, and I love seeing it. I do love seeing it, as long as it only gets none of my friends.
Yeah, Jordan Granham. He's a good boxer going on the road.
He's potentially, obviously, Poochie's retiring this year, so he's potentially someone I'm looking at as taking on next year, along with Lee. I like Jordan. He's a guy. He boxed in Tolworth.
Yeah, he came up short, but just the weekend gone, he got a win.
Yeah, he beat the guy, didn't he? But they give it 3 rounds to 1. So
yeah,
that should be. And Jordan Granham was a top amateur. He was unbeaten as an amateur. And obviously things went on and he took the road, and you never know. If certain things didn't happen, you don't know where he'd be now.
He's only been stopped once and he's lost over 80 fights.
I think I've read it early. He's lost 96 fights, been stopped once.
Yeah.
But you watch him most weeks, he'll win, but then he'll lose every round. It's just crazy.
It's just what happens.
Exactly that.
What's the other journeyman you work with? I forgot his name.
Lee Hallett.
No, not Lee Hallett. McPhee, was it?
What that I've got shirts for? Oh, Kieran.
Yeah.
McAfee Hansen.
Yeah, him.
T-Mac, yeah, he's bought some shirts off me. He's another one, tough guy. I'm glad to be working with him. I mean, I would love to help all the journeymen and provide their shirts. Obviously, I'm just a one-man brand. I can't do it. But he's another one that's a tough cookie. And look, ideally, in a few years' time, I'll have 5 or 6 journeymen that I send out every week in the shirts. But at the minute, I can only keep it to the 2. And obviously, when Poochie moves on, I'll look at another person.
So you're not working with Matt Hall?
Yeah, Matt messaged me about a shirt, and obviously I've done it at a cut price for him because I know they just fight. They've got no sponsors, stuff like that. So I've done him shirts. Kieran, I've done shirts for. Um, another guy soon. I can't remember his name, so don't ask me. But yeah, there's a few. There's a
Yeah.
few.
So what other show are we talking about? Should we talk about the
Maxi.
30th? Oh, Maxi, yes. I can't wait for that fight, him v Galahad. I've got a feeling Maxi will box Kid's head off.
Look, Kid Galahad's a very good boxer, very, very good. But he's coming up 2 weight divisions, and I can't stand it. And I try not to be too biased and say who I do and don't like because of what I do. But Maxi's one of the people you'll ever meet. What he did for me and what he still does for me. He still messages me, texts me on WhatsApp, whatever. How you doing, mate? How's things? Have you seen the Face Off? Did you watch it last night?
No, I haven't seen it, but I'll probably watch it tomorrow.
Have a watch, but Kid Galahad was trying to get in his head, you're not on my level. This is a big fight for you. And Maxi's open. Yeah, you probably are the best person I've boxed, but I do believe Maxi will beat him. And, there's people around me that. But it's a tough fight. It is a tough fight. And he's just got to do what he did against Strafford, just stay on the outside. And when he sees that opening, move in. Because Kid Galahad hasn't got a chin. He's proved that. I don't care what anyone says. He's older now. He got absolutely flopped by Kiko Martinez. It's like Maxi. You're talking. Maxi said to him, "You're talking about all this, that, and the other. Would you still be fighting at featherweight if you'd have beaten Kiko Martinez?" And he said, yes. So it's the old written rule. I lost. I got knocked out. I'm struggling at the weight. I'll move up. And he said he took the Maxi fight because it's an easy fight. I don't believe that at all. And I really hope Maxi.
Fight.
No, it's not. Maxi's so underrated. It's mad that he's still underrated as a world champion, but we'll see what happens Saturday.
Yeah. I hope Maxi wins.
Mate, he's a lovely guy. And obviously I'm very, very good friends with his sponsor, Justin Johnson, Hunters Weatherby. They're all nice people. Just while I speak about Justin, he's jumped on board as a supporter to my brand. So, he's put money towards what I do. I'm going part-time next week in work, and Justin and also Forrestal and Sons have backed me, and they've supported me to go part-time. So I'm very thankful to Rod and Justin for doing that.
Yeah. Should we talk about Terry Harper now, the Hannah Rankin?
I think it's a mismatch. I think Terry Harper bashes her. I'm not being rude when I say this.
Yeah.
I spoke to somebody who not worked with, but trained with Hannah, and they're a prospect, and I've seen bits of her smashing Hannah Rankin around the ring. Every time I've seen Hannah Rankin fight, she's lost. She didn't even win the world title, and I'm not being rude by saying this because I'm straight talking. When she won that world title, she didn't win that world title. She was the home fighter and she got the decision. She defended at the Hydro against the nobody. But if Terry Harper performs, I really rate Terry Harper. I think she's very good. And I think she knocks her out inside 5 rounds.
Mate, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be.
I hope we're right, mate. Let's hope for a good night at Doncaster. Steffi Ball at ringside screaming beautiful, and we all get the win.
Yeah. So I'll have that on my laptop and Joe Joyce on the TV because I want to watch both.
Joe Joyce is on pay-per-view, isn't it?
Yeah, on BT Sports.
Well, I think I'm watching it with the Punk Kids, so I'll probably put the Zone show on the PlayStation on the telly, and I'll probably stream the Parker fight when it gets to that, because I don't know who's on the undercard of that.
Oh, it's like Echo Essuman v Antwi, Heaney v Flatney, and Amanda Serrano's fighting as well.
I really hope Jack Flatley wins.
Same, mate. I've interviewed Flatney. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very good friends with Denzel Bentley, and he was asking for the Heaney fight up until he got the British, and he never wanted it. And to be fair to Heaney, what is he, 19-0? This is his first real fight.
He's
So let's see.
15-0, but yeah.
Yeah, let's just see how he gets on because I think flat will flatten him, and I think he'll
Yeah.
be humbled big time.
Bentley, I saw that he might be fighting. I can't pronounce the guy's name.
Oh,
Jan, what's he called?
the Kazakh fella who beat Danny Dingham.
Yeah. Oh
He's a
my! I really hope Bentley will win that. It's a tough fight though.
I
Very.
said I said to Jack about it earlier, and he said, "Look, it is a tough fight, but he has only beaten and Dam and Dingham, and that's no disrespect, but Denzel's a level above both of them, and Denzel can hit and move, so it's a very interesting fight." And
Bentley smashed Morrison.
it was I spoke to Denzel on Sunday, and I said to him, it looked like he'd been bottled. No, Saturday morning, I spoke to Denzel on the phone, and I said it was you. It literally looked like you'd smashed a bottle around Marcus Morrison's face. It was.
It did.
It was. Every shot was landing, and I think Marcus Morrison. I think he should call it a day now. I think he's slowly dropped down the levels. He was never a world level fighter, but he's gone up and stepped up. But
Yeah.
Chris Eubank, oh, he took Eubank 12 rounds. He didn't. Eubank could have stopped him, but chose not to.
Yeah.
And
And
just
Eubank pretty much won every round.
yeah, and Denzel just smashed him from pillar to post.
But
So
that
I'd like.
Udofia gave Bentley a good fight, though. You've got to say.
He did. I think Denzel, like again, when I spoke to Denzel, he spoke to me. What do I think? I said, look, you got too involved. When you got on the inside, you boxed well because you had him on the ropes, but then you stuck at distance. And when you fight Linus, a bit like Brad Paul's at distance, their jab is so good. Their jab will follow the big right hand, left hook. So when he got in close with Linus, he smashed him all over the place, nearly stopped him. Well, he dropped him, but it weren't a drop. So I think Denzel needs to move on now. Vacate the British. He's defended it, which he obviously didn't before. Let it go and
He's
move on.
got to go to a European or something.
Well, he's got the world title fight. I spoke to him earlier. It's on.
Oh, come on, Bentley.
Let's hope so. Too sharp.
Yeah. Are you going to be doing like merch for him? Do you know?
We always speak about it, but I think his brother's got a friend that does it all.
Ah,
So yeah, I've got a few Denzel bits here. Obviously, I've done a few bits in the past, and I always send him bits. So potentially, but if he comes to me, then we'll do it. If not, then I'll always support him. I've supported Denzel since before boxing royalty started.
yeah. That's good. What about the 30th? That's a packed night, isn't it?
It's a very good night. Obviously, York Hall is going to be absolutely filled to the rafters. Joe Giles sells a bucket load of tickets. Tommy Murphy. I know for a fact Tommy Murphy's done over 250 tickets for this fight, which is a quarter of York Hall pretty much.
And he's fighting Lee Hallett.
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one for me because I do a lot of Tommy's merch from his first fight. Tracksuits, hoodies, t-shirts. And yes, look, people say to me, do you want Lee to win tonight? Just get Lee out of there safe. No cuts, no stoppage, and Lee fights next week. That's a win for me. Tommy looked good in his first fight. He looked slick behind the jab. He looked a bit nervous at the start, and he even admitted to me, he could have performed a lot better. But I said to him, you're not going to perform for 6 fights. You're going to learn everything, learn something new every fight. Obviously, you got Joe.
Win.
Yeah, he should win. Yeah, and like I say, if he plays fairly, he'll win. The fight to watch out for is Joe Giles versus Seamus Devlin.
Seamus Devlin's fighting, is he?
He's broke the record for the most ever fights in a year. He's had 32 fights this year.
I know,
and I think
fair play.
35 weeks. And he's never been stopped. So, again, look, we say it's a close fight. If Joe plays the game, he'll win. But Joe's a big prospect. I've got a lot of time for Joe. He's a nice lad. And I actually still need to get my ticket from him. But I look forward to that. And then, obviously, you've got
Jordan.
Yeah, one of my good friends, Will. One of his boys is out, Jordan Perkis.
Area.
Yeah, obviously, a bit frustrating for Jordan because obviously he's a natural super flyweight. He was waiting around, and obviously Jack and Paul drawing in March did not help him at all.
No, not really. And then they had to rematch.
And then they had the rematch for the Southern area, which meant that, say Paul had won, the likelihood is there would have been another rematch because it was Jack's home show.
Really? So would that have happened if Paul got the nod?
Pays for it because obviously it was on Jack's show. So you were looking. Jordan was looking at when did they fight? July the 23rd. So end of this year, start
He
of
was
next.
meant to look because when I interviewed him originally, he wanted the winner of Jordan and not Jordan, Jack v Paul.
Yeah, and then obviously it's all come about. And look, I think he beats Ryan Walker. I've never met Ryan, but
Hopefully he wins. Because Ryan's
Jordan,
been getting in his face a lot.
yeah, that was just. I spoke to Jordan about that, and that was all on camera. And then afterwards, Ryan's gone up to him and said, "Oh, it's all for the camera." It's people like that. I just think I've got no respect for you. Just be yourself. If you wanna shake Jordan's hand at the face off, shake Jordan's hand at the face off. But I think Jordan outbox if Jordan listens to Will, I think he'll outbox him. Jordan in one of his fights, he was dropped. He got a bit, I don't know the right word. He went in early and he got caught. Come out of it fine. Won the rest of the fight. If Jordan, I don't think Ryan will drop Jordan at all. I think he's developed so much. This is a year on from there, and I think if Jordan listens to Will, stays behind that jab, it'll be interesting. I think he'll win every round. I think he will be the bantamweight Southern Area champion.
I really hope Jordan wins.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, so do I. I really do.
I reckon Jordan just needs to stay away from him, and I reckon he can box his head off.
Yeah, the thing is, I've watched a bit of Ryan in the last few weeks through speaking with Will, and
Yeah,
when close, he'll dig to you, and he'll hold you down. He's a very good distance fighter. So if he's in the middle of the ring and he's jabbing and he's moving, throwing the odd right, followed by the left hook, whatnot, he'll school the bloke. And Jordan made a very good point to Ryan at the face-off, and he said, "Look, if I'm fighting after 18 fights, fighting for a Southern Area Championship, I'm retiring." Jordan's what 4-0,
yeah.
so but I really hope. I think he will do it. I've
I
not got
reckon he
many.
will.
Yeah, I might be doing a bit of filming on the night for Will, which would be good for Jordan to keep. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
confident he
sure.
wins.
I think they might be live streaming the event. I've heard from.
Yeah, it's just going to be on Into Boxing YouTube channel.
That's what Poochie's fight was on.
That's Lee Eaton's brand. Yeah,
Yeah, but they're working with TMM 14 Promotions.
that's it. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, so it'll be a good night. I'm looking forward to it. Are you
Yeah.
going?
Yes, I will be.
Good.
There's a big English main event. Billy Organton v Boy Jones.
Oh yeah, you've got no Lucas Ballingal
Yeah, that's who I meant. Michael McKinson's brother.
versus Boy Jones Jr. Yeah, that'd be a good fight. I can't say I've watched either of them, so I can't comment.
I like both of them. They're both great lads, and
Yeah, I Lucas a lot on here. It'd be a good fight. It'd be interesting. And you got a lot of good fights on that card. So
Conor Marsden.
yeah, Jack said to me every time he's watched that Conor Marsden, it's been an unbelievable fight. So I look forward to watching him as well.
Yeah,
He's got a tough.
yeah. That Martin apparently he's been sparring in Will Jones's gym.
Martin. Oh, Marsden.
No, not Marsden. The guy Marsden's fighting, Martin.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. I couldn't tell you. But he might do if he's from that area. Then yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Who do you think wins with Marsden and Martin, or have you not seen them fight?
Like it'd be unfair for me to comment because I haven't seen either fight. If I go off of what I've heard, then Conor Marsden. But don't
Yeah.
hold me. But I'll watch it and I'll score it fairly because I don't know either guy and I've never seen either guy fight.
Yeah. And now let's talk about the 12th with Jack Hughes making his last ever fight, and I think Ticey Gallagher and Jack Newham, who's making his first 6-rounder.
Yeah, it's gonna be a night of mixed emotions. Obviously the punk kid's bowing out. He's had enough. He went blind after 7 rounds in the last fight, and I think that tells you there when you've been hit like that you're only going to step up levels. When he won that fight, next fight was English/British even at super flyweight because there's not a lot of them. And I think Kieran said to him, "Look, that's it now. Stop it." But Jack being Jack, he made his debut on the 12th of November and he wants to finish on the 12th of November. He started camp this week. He's I don't know if I can say his opponent, but I won't. I'll tell you separately.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it might be
He
an
has
interesting.
been beefing with him and Reese Taylor have been beefing.
Yeah. Oh, is that Showy Showtime, whatever it is?
Yeah, Showy. That's Reese
Yeah,
Taylor.
yeah. I think he was meant to fight Jack a few. Like, obviously, Jack's had a lot of people pull out in fights in his career,
Yeah,
and I think
such as that shrimp Ricky Little, as Jack Newen likes that word.
well, it's not Ricky Little. Don't even give it to Jack no more. It's Ricky Little's girlfriend that messages Jack getting rude. It's crazy.
Really? Does she?
Yeah,
Do they still
she was,
mouth off to him?
yeah, she was saying that he won the title against a nobody. He boxed a journeyman for the title, which is so disrespectful. She was like, "Look at Paul's record. He's shit." La di da di da. But obviously, Jack and Paul are good friends. So Jack's
Paul's better than his record says. You've got to say.
yeah, 1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. And back to Showy, he Jack just said that he pulled out on Jack a couple of times, and Jack just put on there because I watched. Obviously, you were there, and Showy was absolutely dreadful at York Hall the other night. He was awful, and I don't like to say that. And
Yeah,
Jack just put, I would have loved to have fought this guy, and he just come back, keep the energy when I see you. And Jack was being Jack, and he gets too involved in stuff sometimes. And Jack don't care if Jack's got an opinion on something, he'll stick by it. And I made him
yeah.
right that. So
Did you
could
see
be.
that Roz guy trying to mouth off to Jamie?
Oh, just listen. In my honest opinion, Jamie beats any person at Southern area level. Jamie
Yeah,
is above level. I think Jamie beats Luke Watkins personally.
I reckon he would as well. To be fair.
I think I know Andy went up to Luke at Grays when the fight was on the other week. Luke and Ian Martell. And Andy, Jamie's trainer, went up to him and said, "Why don't you fight the Southern Area champion next?" And Luke went, "What, Jamie Smith?" And he went, "Yeah." He went, "No, thanks." Whether that's no thanks, I don't want it, or no thanks, I've got no need for it. Luke should be looking at a British now. He's getting old. He looked good that night.
Yeah.
Jamie just, and it's no disrespect to Ross. I don't know Ross. I've watched him box, but Jamie dismantles him in under 3 rounds quite easily.
Yeah, I think that as well. I think Roz needs to fight quite a few more times. Like I don't know, like 2 more wins, 3. But I still reckon Jamie's on a different level because that Mendes would beat Roz because Mendes
Well,
bad.
yeah. If Mendes wants it, then maybe they could do Mendes versus McGuigan, and the winner fights Jamie. But
No, but Jamie wouldn't fight Mendes again because Jamie battered him.
It depends what fights. Like, I think I would like to see Jamie versus Zorro.
Yeah. Did you watch Zorro v Spellman? That was a cracking fight.
Yeah, great fight. I thought it was very close. I think I scored it 5-4 and 1 even.
Yeah, but
so
I wanted Deck, because I've interviewed him and he's a good guy. But Zorro won that for me because of the knockdown.
I think the knockdown won it. I think that is literally what won it. But obviously, Jamie and Zorro got history from Boxer.
You should have heard the noise in round 7. You couldn't hear a thing. I can hear anything.
Was that Deck went down or?
No, in the 7th. It was just the best round of the fight and everyone was screaming. I could barely hear anything.
No, it was a good fight. And I like Dex Spellman. I think he could have been in a bit better shape for that fight. But if he had been in a bit more better shape, I think he would have gone for it more in the 10th round. But listen, you've got to respect him. And I hope he gets another chance. But I think Jamie Zorro as well. I do. I really do. They said on commentary, you wouldn't have heard it. They said that Ellis has been chasing a Southern Area shot. I know for a fact.
In his 15th fight?
Well,
16th it would be.
I spend a lot of time with Andy. Obviously, like I said, Jamie's trainer, and that fight's never been approached. If anything, Jamie's asked for that fight since Boxer. And obviously, look, if you want that fight with the Southern Area champion, speak to Andy, speak to Steve Goodwin. I'm sure Andy and Steve will travel to Frank Warren and box on a BT show and defend the belt. Or if not, if Luke Watkins moves on, let's make it for the English.
Yeah.
What a great fight that would be. And, well, I say great fight. I think Jamie's got unreal power.
Dex Spellman nearly had Zorro out of there.
Well, if Jamie hits Zorro like that,
it would be gone.
He is literally, he's like a and a more unexperienced, and I mean that in respect to Lawrence Okoli. If he hits you, you're down. You're done.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for Jamie to get up for the Ross McGuigan fight because it's a 2-0 fighter that he knows he's going to spark.
He's 3-0 now, actually, because he had a fight on the weekend. And he
Yeah,
already fought that guy in.
Exactly. We're counting it as 2-0 because he's beat Jervier twice. But I think that will get offered to Jamie. But I would like to see. I personally, if I'm Jamie, I'd rather vacate than fight Ross McGuigan personally because it's just a nothing fight. You earn nothing from it. You don't move anywhere in the rankings, so why even bother?
What's your thoughts on Mendes? Because he's been always around Southern area.
I think that's his level. You know, you can't. Southern area is a very prestigious title to win.
It's good even if you win a belt in your career. You can
exactly
say that you've won your area belt, like Jack will go out and say, I've won my area title, which is a title.
It's prestigious.
You should be happy about winning.
Champions, Maxie Hughes, he won the area title.
Yeah.
You might have heard a little rumour that Paul Roberts might win an area title by the end of the year. So there's a lot of people, and on Paul Roberts, I really hope he does get the shot. I spoke to him yesterday, and
he could get another shot. He deserves. To be fair, he deserves another shot.
100 million%. You know, the way he performed over them 2 fights is brilliant.
Even though you thought Jack won both, and I still think Paul's done enough. But that second fight, I can see where you think that Jack's won.
Yeah, the first fight was super close. You know, you couldn't argue a draw. I scored it 6-4.
I still think Paul won that first fight, though, mate.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, you know, a lot of my friends that come forward. Jack thought that Paul had won. But listen, Paul deserves a shot, and let's hope he gets it. I'd love to see it.
And let's hope he wins. Would you cheer for him if he fought? I don't know. Who is there like at that level at the minute?
Sam something. I can't think of his name.
I'll
show you.
Kadimi won't go down because he's that British. He told me that he's never going back down there.
Kadimi's fighting Ijaz Ahmed again. I've heard.
Again.
At York Hall, 4th time. I will see. Sam Cantwell is who Paul Roberts might be fighting.
Oh, that name rings a bell. It rings a bell.
33.
I really hope Paul beats him, but again, I think that's a tough fight.
It is a tough fight, and the guy that if it was to go at flyweight, it would be hard. But listen, 3rd time lucky for Paul, hopefully.
Let's hope so. And do you know Jack Newham's opponent before we end it?
No, it's been offered. I know that Ricky sent a view to Goodwin. They're just waiting to pick it, but I know he wants someone with a few wins behind him. And then he wants to go for titles early next year.
Like a Southern area. He could fight like George Hennon. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's I think 5-1, but he's got a fight this weekend against Jordan Granham. 4 rounds, I think. But yeah, I reckon, again, I like George and I like Jack as well, so I'll be on the fence with that. But I reckon that'd be a good domestic clash for both of them.
Thing is, Jack's like a bulldog. Once he's on you, he won't get off you. So I'd like to see Jack box in November, box in March, and then go straight in June, July for a Southern area. That would be ideal for me. I think he needs a couple of 6-rounders before he goes for the.
Is he ready for a 10-rounder after this fight?
No, I would say do an 8-rounder in between. Even if it's against a journeyman. Box a journeyman over 8 rounds, do the rounds, and then box with a Southern area. Or just have 2 6s, but you can't go from 6 4-rounders to a 6-rounder to then a 10-rounder because your body can't manage it. You can train as much as you like for a 10-rounder, but if you're from 6 to 10, it's a big step, especially only after having 1 6-rounder.
Yeah. And my last question for you is, who do you think's going to win this weekend with Joe Joyce and Parker?
Joe Joyce, stoppage, late. I think Parker would dominate the early rounds, 1 to 4. And then I think, like everyone does, his heart will be broke because he'll realise he ain't doing nothing to hurt Joe Joyce. and then Joe Joyce will just walk him down, and I think he'll stop him late.
Hopefully, mate. It's been a pleasure having you on, mate, and I might see you on the 30th.
You will, mate. Keep up what you're doing. You're doing well.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye, Sam.